written by a Canadian citizen who couldn't read it out loud for himself because he would be risked for deportation. I'm a Canadian citizen who has been living in Mexico for quite some time. I have resided in Playa del Carmen in the poorest section of the city, where the hotel cleaners, the cab drivers, the taco vendors live. And through their poorly educated worlds, I've been exposed to the shocking stories of corruption regarding the recent excluded elections. I'm not writing this out of some need for attention. I'm writing this because I have seen firsthand proof of the fraudulent election results, where the Free Party shamefully exposed its candidate, Enrique Peña Nieto. I have seen the ballot cards altered in favor of the Free Party. I have been told firsthand by people who live all around me about Free. Representatives offering meat, sandwiches, money, clothing, cement, and Soriana gift cards for their vote. I have seen rival party propaganda signs systematically defaced while Free signs remain untouched. During the actual voting on July 1st, I personally stood in front of the polling stations and watched as no less than 8 red shirts wearing members of the Free Party surrounded and intimidated citizens at the station with only 2 voting booths. Leading up to the elections, I have watched Televisa and TV Azteca have favored coverage and was obvious. I have read countless insider articles that have, in remarkably vivid detail, illustrated payoffs and kickbacks from Free. There is no suspicion, there is only proof. People protesting to stop resisting throughout the campaign. And sadly, people who continue to protest have also disappeared in other states quietly without a trace. I'm a Canadian and I'm here in Mexico. I have been in Mexico for the entire of the presidential campaign, and I have never in my entire life seen such much methodical, dishonorable, repulsive acts of corruption and greed. The poorest citizens of this country have been exploited solely to satisfy the Free Party's lust for power, and Canadians, Americans, Europeans, Latin Americans, Asians, citizens of the world who have prided themselves on justice and truth to simply shrug our collective shoulders and accept what has happened is unacceptable. I sincerely hope my letter will inspire future reportings in this farce of an election. I have sent it to as many major newspapers and magazines in my home country as I could, but they didn't care enough to respond. Yo Soy 132 is not a ragtag group of drunken kids, as the Mexican media portrays them, but educated adults, many of whom successfully influential families, and all they wanted is to express a perspective that is constantly being repressed by the national and international media. As I've said, nothing I have written is based upon opinion, but proven truth, and I've always believed that truth is the blood that makes any concerned citizen's heart beat. Atentamente, un ciudadano canadiense preocupado.